If you clicked on this video expecting it to be me bashing Hunt Showdown, that's not what this is. If you're new to the channel and you don't know who I am, I'm Huge. I'm a partnered Twitch streamer and I play Hunt Showdown. I have 4,000 hours in the game and I still absolutely love it. But there are a few huge things that I see, a few huge issues that I see with the game. I'm going to tell you about those and I'm going to give you some reasonable solutions to those problems. First up, in any game where it puts players against other players and one side wins and the other side loses, there will always be people that do what it takes to win, right? Whether it's practicing for thousands of hours to get better at their positioning and movement, or utilizing mechanics in the game that gives them an edge, or understanding weapons. No matter what it is, people will put in the time to make sure that they win. It seems to me that if Crytek doesn't like a mechanic that players are using, they label it as an exploit to justify removing it. To be perfectly clear, I don't have a problem with Crytek removing mechanics that they don't like. That's totally fine. The issue is calling it an exploit specifically. That's blaming the players for utilizing a mechanic that Crytek themselves implemented. That divides the community, and right now I don't think that's something we need with the size of our player base. What's the solution to that? Well, in the future, they just should own up to it. Just say, hey, we added this thing in the game. We don't like the way it turned out, so we're taking it out again. You don't call it an exploit. You don't blame the players. You just say, hey, this thing didn't turn out the way we hoped it would. And everyone feels better. Crytek owns up to it. They take the blame. No players feel alienated. And we continue on. Easy. Do you want to know about an actual exploit? High ping. If you didn't know the way this game works, if you have exceedingly high ping, you can actually have an advantage because of the way the hit registration works. Now, my buddy Dela made a great video about how this works, and he goes into some pretty good detail about it. That will be linked in the description, along with an article from huntshowdown.com, so you yourself can read how the hit registration works straight from the developers. How do you stop people from doing this? Remove the ability to choose the region that you queue into. If a team starts looking for a game, it automatically sends them into the region that gives them the lowest ping. I'm from California, and the amount of times I've had to fight it out with somebody from Australia or Asia or some other place on the opposite side of the planet is pretty ridiculous. I don't think you should be able to do that. But Huge, I'm from those regions and no one plays in my servers. Yeah, that's because everyone's already playing in other servers. If everyone was forced to go play in their own servers, there would be people there to play against. Now, what if you wanted to play a game with one of your friends that lives really far away? Well, easy. It just sends that team into the region that gives the team the lowest average ping. Say 2 people from the United States and 1 person from Australia. It would send them to the United States, so that only 1 person on that team would have high ping. If it was 2 people in Australia and 1 person in the United States, it would send them to Australian servers, so that only the person in the US would have high ping. That makes sense, right? There's plenty of other ways that this could be addressed, but I think something needs to be done about it, because being able to queue into any region with any ping is pretty mind-blowing, isn't it? You know what else is mind-blowing? The Dolch. Do I even need to really explain why this is on here? Ask any player with a significant amount of time and they will tell you that the Dolch is ridiculous. Look at the stats and the damage drop-off on websites like huntbreakdown.com. I will link that in the description. And it's better than a Winfield. And it needs no traits. And it's a pistol. It's a pistol. Sure, it's expensive, but for any player that has thousands of dollars, that price means absolutely nothing. Players with a lot of money can continuously buy the Dolch and not worry about it at all. That money doesn't even matter. How do you fix the Dolch? Well, there are a lot of things that they could do, but one thing that I think would have an effect while still being reasonable is adjust the amount of spare ammo that the Dolch holds. Right now you have 10 rounds in the magazine and 10 spare rounds. If they made it 5 spare rounds, that would take away the stripper clip reload and also make it more difficult to get more ammo from the plentiful special ammo boxes that are all around the map. If you've ever used the Lebel without an uppercut, you know exactly how hard it is to get ammo back. The amount of ammo you get out of big ammo boxes is determined by how much spare ammo you can hold. So for the Lebel, you only have 5 spare rounds. That means you only get a few bullets back for every big ammo box. If they made it the same way with the Dolch, I think the Dolch users would be much more hesitant to spam all their bullets away because it would be that much more difficult to get the ammo back. On top of that, I think there needs to be more recoil. When you're aiming down your sights and you shoot once, when the crosshair comes back down, I think it needs to be more off target. I think it needs to move more after the recoil is gone, so that you have to readjust your aim back on target every time you shoot. That'll also stop some of the crazy spam that you see from the Dolch. Recently, Crytek said this.
However, obviously, we still understand that it is used quite frequently in certain skill ranges and certain brackets. So this is something that we're looking into a little bit. And what I can tell you already is we've done some experimentation in the past with the Dolch, and just nerfing the damage doesn't do anything for it practically. We would need to nerf it into the ground below like the Bornheim level for it to even matter to have something on damage, because it will still be a 2-tap most of the time in the typical combat distances. So when we look into the Dolch in future updates, and we want to do that, we're probably going to look more into how we can look in semi-automatic fire in general and what it means for, I don't know, fire behavior, recoil, sway, that type of stuff. We can look into damage as one part of the component, but it's not going to be the silver bullet. And we can also look into animations, for example, so like seeing if there's anything we want to do on the reloads, etc., that's like as an additional smaller cost. None of these is a silver bullet, and therefore the biggest problem of the Dolch is simply it's a modern gun. It's a semi-automatic 10-round pistol, and the flexibility that gives you on its own is just immense. It's hard to offset that with other stats. It's just a problem that comes from having a modern weapon in a game which otherwise has also like single-shot weapons. Like it's just a very strong difference between them. So we're looking into it. It's something we want to further investigate, and there's going to be some options. I'm pretty sure next update will have something for the Dolch in there as well, but don't expect magic, guys, because really the Dolch on its own is not so much of an issue from the statistics side.
And I think they need to be a little bit more creative than that. Saying that they can't find a solution to the Dolch is a little bit worrying. I would hope that this dev team is competent and creative enough to figure out how to balance their own weapons. I want to thank my Patreon supporters for making it possible for me to put these videos together. It would be significantly more difficult without their help. If you'd like to help support as well, I'm going to put the link to my Patreon in the description below, where I have different tiers where you can get access to new videos early, as well as Hunt Showdown coaching and streaming coaching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. I'm uploading 2 videos every week, so there's a lot more stuff on the way. Also, you can follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/huge, HUUGE. Come tell me your thoughts when I'm live. I have no problem having a discussion about this with somebody that has a different opinion than my own. It's totally okay. As long as it doesn't turn into mudslinging or anything like that, let's keep it civil. We can talk about this. Thank you for watching. Peace.